Good morning, everybody. You may need weights and a ball. For the warm up, if you feel like for the first few ones you would like to hold a weight just for a little bit of wrist strength and a little bit of shoulder blade strength, you're welcome to do that. If you feel that this is a little too easy, that's fine. For others, this is going to be just warming up the hip socket right now. So we're going to go ahead, tuck our shoulder blades, hips, knees, toes forward, and we're going to go side to side. So we're not pumping our wrists because we don't want to burn out our muscles this early, but we're just going to hold it gently like farmer's walk. I love farmer's walk for people who have either like shoulder issues, neck issues, and needing to strengthen their arm altogether. It's a great one to kind of create some torso stability. I'm going to go ahead and set these down, but you're welcome to keep them in your hands. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to go right into marches. Nice tall chest. We're going to bring those knees up and those feet out. It's really important that you don't slide those feet. That would be incorrect. We want to come out here, forcing the hip flexor to get stronger, holding the weight of that leg. You can just tell how different it is if you slide that foot up near your torso, up near the leg. It's just so much easier versus pulling it out forward. So just keep those knees up, keep those knees up. Almost visualize like you're trying to kick someone. So, I mean, we don't have to put that much force into it, but if we want to, nice tight abs, shoulders are down, letting all the blood flow go through the neck. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to do sidearm raises. If you have weights and you would like to use them, this would be the time to grab them. If you have shoulder issues and you're like, no, I just want to move my shoulders and train the rotator cuff, that's fine too. We're going to have your palms, feet forward, soft knees, tight pelvic floor, tight abs, shoulders back, neck and shoulders relaxed. Palms are forward, so we open up the capsule in the rotator cuff, and we're going to bring our arms straight out to the side to the height of our rotator cuff, and then come on down. Tuck shoulder blades, bring out the arms, and then bring it down. Your abs are tight, your pelvic floor is tight, knees are soft. Why do we need the whole body set up? So that it can be stable and the body can just focus on the muscles that are required to move the ball and socket that is your rotator cuff. And you just keep going back and forth, up and down, like we're trying to fly in slow motion. Of course, we won't create any lift. Or is it thrust that lifts us? Just have one more to go right here. I like the modifications I'm seeing. Nice job. And then we're going to roll those shoulders down. And we're going to move right into hamstring curls. Okay, so we're going to, if you need a chair or a countertop for stability, we're going to shift the weight to the left leg, step the right heel out, and then kick the heel up and down, keeping the thighs together. If not, you can just hold on to your hip here and just create some balance, or hold on to the chair. Any one of those are fair game. We just want to use the hamstring here. This is your anti-gravity muscle. This is the muscle that if you trip, if this one's strong and on point, it pops you back up. So we got to always have this one engaged and quick moving. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring that down, shifting the weight to the right foot, feet, hips, knees, toes forward, tight pelvic floor, kick the left leg back, thighs are together, and we're going to lift the heel, tap the toe, lift the heel, tap the toe. Abs are tight, shoulders are back, and just picture, is that knee still behind or next to the other standing leg? Don't bring the knee forward. Make sure it's pulled back. It's really important that we keep the thigh straight down or even a little further back. We really want to work on getting this hamstring nice and strong, or at least mobile, right? We want it to move. Keep your abs tight, shoulders are back. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on down. We're going to march that out. Okay, I'm going to take off my glasses here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move to calf raises. So feel free to hold on to something for stability. You can use weights to make it a little more effort if you like. You're going to have your toes forward, knees forward, tight pelvic floor. You're going to lift your heels up and then slow on the way down. Tight abs, shoulders down, lift your heels up and come on the way down. We're going to just do one more to show that we can do this, and then we're going to up the complexity. So now we're going to lift it up. We're going to turn the toe to the big joint, to the little joint, back to the center, and down. Tight abs, tight butt, soft knees, bring up the heels. Going to go to the big joint, the little joint, the center, and down. Coming on up, we're going to go to the big joint, the little joint, back to the center, and down. Going up, turn to the big toe joint, the little toe joints, back to the center, and down. Last one, going up, roll to the big toe joint, the little toe joint, back to the center, and down. If you have bunions, this is a great one to play with because it shows the foot and the nervous system how to maneuver around all the joints on the bottom of the foot pad, which is directly related to everything that's happening in your arches, which will then, of course, help assist with the walking forward, because a lot of times people who have bunions, they walk sideways, and that's where the big toe is turning out. So practicing just walking with your toes forward will help bunions, but also just these little exercises where we're learning how to control the foot itself. I hope you like that instruction. Okay, we spent a lot of time there, sorry. Okay, we're gonna go front arm raises. If you like weight again, feel free to grab some light weights, 2 pounds or so, or less. If you have shoulder problems, then you know you're not gonna use these weights. You're gonna tuck shoulder blades, tight abs, tight pelvic floor, soft knees, locking down those shoulder blades. You're gonna raise your arms level with the shoulder and then bring it down to the side. Straight arms, straight down to the side. Tuck shoulder blades, coming up, and then control on the way down. If you feel like doing 2 arms is too complicated at once, feel free to just do 1 arm at a time. While we're doing 1 arm, you do the just one alternating. That is an option also. You're really just trying to tuck your shoulder blades down, relax the shoulders, relax the neck there, tighten your abdominals, tighten your pelvic floor. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come this last one, and then roll those shoulders back. And I'm going to set the weights down. We're going to do inner thigh taps. So if you need to stand, if you need to hold to something, I'm going to have you just do a few and then switch sides. Otherwise, we're going to just have our hands nice and tight like little penguins, and we're going to rotate the thigh in the hip socket, lifting the heel towards the other hand. And we're just going to go back and forth, working on this inner thigh here, trying to train it how to rotate inside the hip socket. This comes in handy when we want to grab something off our shoe when we're walking, if we want to put on our socks while standing, if we need to sit down and cut our toenails. This is a very handy move to have in your repertoire of your hip health. Nice tall chest. And we're not tipping our body, we're not twisting our body, we're just keeping it perfectly statuesque so that the heel has to think about the goal of getting to that thigh. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Nice job. We're going to move right on to having the shins. So we're going to shift the weight to the left leg, set forward the right leg, soft knee here, and keep the front heel on the ground. And you're going to just tap the toe, tap the toe. It's very tempting to just want to let the big toe lift and go, oh, look how high I'm lifting it. Try to disengage the ball of the foot and really feel the shin pull the weight of the foot all the way up. Just really feel that shin working on your behalf. So normally we go outward. Today, we're going to take it a little different and we're going to tighten those abs, keep the hips. We're going to go up and we're going to tap in just a little bit. And then we're going to tap forward and down. Go up, tap in just a little bit. You're just not going to be able to inward rotate too much, and that's okay. But there's this little muscle inside that inner hip we want to engage and let know that it exists and it's important. So it's just a tiny little movement pattern. Don't get too crazy, like, how come I can't turn it all the way in? You can't, you shouldn't. It's just this tiny little muscle. You would recognize it when we are doing ball squeezes, but not with the little ball, with the big ball. That's when you would recognize this muscle. And so it's always good to have a working hip health in that pelvic area. You have 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bring that foot in, march it out. Could you guys feel that little muscle in there working? Thumbs up, down, question mark. Okay. Okay. We're going to switch sides, step forward, and we're going to tap that toe and disengage the toes, but don't let the ball of the foot try to lift the toes up. Really work on that effort there. And then once we're ready, tighten the abs. We're going to lift the toe, turn it in, tap it out, lift the toe, turn it out. And so it's just this tiny inward, and there's just this little muscle that pulls it in, taps it down. I know, little weird things about our body. We have so many muscles and so many different ways against gravity to work it. So we know we already did the outer thigh version on Monday. So I was making the B side of the workout. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we'll march that out and we're going to move on to the rear delts. So if you've been doing this and you have a band with your door that I've trained you with, and you're going to have your arms straight out and do your band workout against the door, go ahead and grab and sit onto the band with that methodology. What we're going to do it without it, if we don't have a band against the door, we're going to sit halfway off the chair, feet together. First, we're going to practice, do we have the physiology to have our arms straight out and then to pull our elbows sideways without triggering our neck? And we're only bringing our elbows level with our rotator cuff. We're not going beyond it, because then the rotator cuff goes forward and you're pushing into all the problem areas. So you just go to the rotator cuff using your shoulder blades to pull back, and then you go straight forward again, Frankenstein, and then coming straight out. So it's like this plane. So once we know you physiologically can do this, then we have to turn this bowing forward on our chair. And this is usually where everyone falls apart, because what happens is once they bend over, they tend to bring their arms like this. What I need you to do is think about bringing your arms out like this, nice and high level with the planes. The way to do it is when you do bend over and you tuck your shoulders, keep the nose forward, you bring your hands level to your shins, tuck those shoulder blades, and then keep those arms in the same plane as the shins the whole time. Don't let them drop. You can see how they're not in the same plane as the shins, and here they are. So I'm going to come straight down and then straight out. And I'm going to just work on tucking my shoulders down, not moving my chest, not moving my neck, and just really feeling the rear delt trying to take over. And that's what we're after. So I just have like someone standing right next to me, and I'm trying to elbow them away. Like, can you move? I need this space right here. That's what we're after. So go ahead. And if you're ready to follow, oh, good, you are following along. So we're going to bend over, tucking shoulders, and we want to do about 10 to 15 of these. I'm mostly timing you. You're keeping the shoulders relaxed. And this is really good for the rear delt on your shoulder. so that the whole capsule gets strong and we're not just overworking the front. So usually when we have front shoulder capsule issues, it's because it's overworked. Same thing like when you hear people say, oh, my hip hurts. We know that that is usually, if it wasn't an injury, we usually know that's the one that's overworked. So what's wrong with the other side that's not doing its job, that it overworked the other one? But you do have a real injury now because it got overworked. You have one more right here, tight abs, and come on up and roll those shoulders. So you kind of want to pay attention. If your front shoulder's hurting, then if there's something in the back that's not engaging, that's overworked the front. Same thing with your hip. If you have a hip issue, there's something in the back that's not working, that this took over all the problems. Sometimes it's as much as when it's on the hip here, it's this knee wasn't stable, which usually comes back to this hip not working correctly. So there's just a lot of stuff that goes on, and it's an individual by individual, of course, but there are some patterns of the body kinetic chain that we can kind of rule out or rule in what's going on. So we want to just make sure we're getting all of it, because that's what we want to do, is just get overall fitness so that the whole body works together. Okay, we're going to stand on up and we're going to get ready for reverse lunges today. What we're trying to do is train how to hinge your hip with a step back and squat on one leg. The reason this back leg is here with us is because I can't saw off your leg and then pop it back on when we're done. It's too inconvenient. So what we do is we keep all the weight on that front leg, and this back leg is just kind of inconsequential. It's just there to kind of steady us, but not really shift the weight to. So everything stays on that front heel. And what we're trying to do, I'm going to shift the weight so you can see on this side, but I'm going to take a small step back, not ridiculously far. Well, first, actually, I start with my feet under the chair so that my knees are touching the chair. I shift my weight to the right. I'm going to step back just a little with my left, but I'm not really putting weight on it. If there was a bug, I wouldn't squish him. I have all my weight on the front heel, and I'm going to hinge my hip. And if that's all I can do, where I feel my butt engaged, then I'm going to stand back up. I'm going to step back, hinge my hip. I'll feel the butt engage, push through the heel, and stand up. If that's all I can do, that's all I'm doing. If this is a little easy and you're ready for a bigger challenge, keeping that knee attached to the chair the whole time, you're going to hinge the hip. You're not going to bow down any further. You're going to now lower yourself and then push through the front heel and bring your feet together. So you'll step back, hinge yourself, lower, and then put it back. Okay, so we're shooting for several of these. Nice tight abs, shifting, step back, hinge, lower, push through the heel, and step up. Step back, hinge, lower, push through the heel, step up. You should feel this in your butt. You might also be feeling it in your quad, and then push through the heel. You're trying to keep your hip nice and square, and you're trying to keep that knee in contact with the chair without pushing that chair too far forward. It might move an inch or two at the most, but nothing more, because we don't want to get too far knees over toes. There is a time for knees over toes. This is not it, because we're trying to hit into the hip here. And so we really want the hip to take over and not just the strength of the legs. So because it's very fascinating, the body, just a change of a degree and an angle will change what muscle takes over. I have my last one right here. This is my number 10. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to shift the weight, and I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to put my knees against the chair, shifting my weight to the left, stepping back to the right, hinging my hip, squatting, push through the heels, and stand. And if you're not liking any of this, you're not quite sure what to do, just right now, just practice stepping back, keeping the knees together, and stepping back, and then bringing the feet together, just trying to keep that knee there. Just that step back is going to be good, because a lot of people don't realize that they can barely bring their legs behind their body and behind the other leg. And so we want to not lose that flexibility in your hip flexor. And a step back, hinge, squat, push through the heel. Step back, hinge, squat, push through the heel. Step back, hinge, squat, push through the heel. Step back, hinge, squat, and come on up. Okay, hope you guys all felt that in your derriere. You should never feel a lunge in your knees. Even if you have arthritis, you're not going to quite feel it. So we want to make sure that you're always in the heel and the hip when you're doing lunges, not the knees. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to work on a narrow press here. If you have weights, feel free to grab weights. If you have shoulder issues, no weights for you. You're just going to practice on holding the shoulders down, locking in the blades, and just practice trying to pull the elbow a little bit higher. Don't visualize just your hand, just visualize really locking in and like have this internal struggle between your shoulder blade and that elbow lifting. Even if you don't go very high, that's okay. So feet forward, soft knees, tight abs, tight butt, tuck shoulders. We're going to come up towards the ceiling and then back to the collarbone. Tuck shoulder blades, tight abs. As you're going up, you're pushing your shoulders down and then come on down. Tuck shoulders, tight abs, come up and then come on down. Tuck shoulders, tight abs, come up. And remember, feel free to have some weights if this is too easy, but whatever you do, don't trigger the neck. I cannot emphasize that enough. Don't trigger the neck. What you would be doing is you're going to tuck the shoulders as you come up. You're pushing them towards the floor, and you're pushing them towards the floor as you come down. You tuck the shoulders as you come up, and you tuck the shoulders as you come down. And last one right here. Excellent. You're going to come on down, palms forward, roll those shoulders. Okay, so now we're going to do something a little bit more tricky. We're going to grab a ball if you have one. If you need something more steady, feel free let's go ahead and we'll have two levels of this. We're going to level one, so we're going to grab a chair. And if you need something to hold on to, we're going to have our hips, knees, toes forward, and we're going to tap the ball of the foot on the chair, not just your toes and not the whole foot, just the ball on the top of the chair, not the angle. We're going to tap and tap. But if you're up for a little bit of a challenge with some arm movement here, you're going to grab a ball and you're going to lift the chair. You're going to tap the toe on the chair and you're going to have your arms out. You're going to pass the ball through the knee, switch hands, bring the leg down, bring up the other leg, switch, and bring it down. So we're just going to go back and forth, back and forth. If you're like, the ball is way too confusing for me, dump the ball and just practice the movement pattern of tapping your thighs together. If this is if this is too hard, forget the ball, forget the arms, just work keeping those hips forward. But this is just a nice way to practice getting those arms, and you're only going as high as your rotator cuff. You're not coming up unless you really, really want to work it hard. You can do that, but mostly we're just getting some side arms out of this, practicing getting the combo of your rotator cuff and your hips working at the same time. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on down, roll those shoulders. Good job, everybody. I loved everybody's modification. That's what we want to be doing. This one is kind of a miserable exercise because it seems so ambiguous. Am I trying to, I'm going to do it with my left arm. Am I trying to bring my arm up and down? Am I trying to lift it really high? It's kind of hard for people to first understand. Really, all we're trying to do is there's this muscle that attaches to the bottom of your shoulder blade, and it's attached to your rib cage, and those two together kind of just lock that shoulder down a little bit better. And having the weight of your arm gets it way stronger so that it can anchor in and hold things, so that, say like we had to carry a big pile of wood, rather than having our arms hunch over and then our pelvic and our bones all open up, we would be able to lock in the shoulder blades, doink, walk, tighten the abs, tighten the pelvic floor, and walk with that big load of wood. So you can see like where in nature life this works. But in real life, we tend to just hunch over and this little muscle doesn't hold us back anymore. So I want to address that, and I get exercises designed to address that movement pattern. So it is feet flat on the floor, facing the chair, hand on the chair. I bring my arm up level to my ears, tuck my shoulder blades away from my ears, and then my thumb to the ceiling. And then I just visualize the bottom of my shoulder blade contracting and releasing, contract and release. It's just this tiny little movement. I'm really not trying to lift my hand up, so that's why I don't need to just keep my arm and bend my elbow. I lock that elbow out and I just try to find that muscle that's right on my shoulder blade and contract it. It's so hard to find when you don't have someone right there poking at your back. As many of you can attest, that having someone poking your back is very much more helpful. So we want to make sure that you're just bending over. The ear, the arm's trying to come next to the ear, and it's just this tiny little movement. It's so small, because that's all it does, is it just holds the bottom of the shoulder blade close to the rib cage. There's this thing called winging, and you can see it on certain people, real obvious, of when their shoulder blade, the bottom of the shoulder blade isn't attached to their rib cage proper, and you can kind of slip your finger under them, and this is kind of taking care of those things. And then come on down, tuck your shoulders, tight abs, and squeeze the butt, stand on up. And I'm going to go to the other side now. So I'm going to bend over, flatten feet forward, flatten my back, tuck my shoulders, my arm comes out, tucking shoulders, and then I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blade, squeeze my shoulder blade. And you'll even notice on me, this arm cannot go as high. This is because the port has kind of messed up this range of motion for a while here. And I just visualize that shoulder blade contract and lift. It's a small, tiny little movement. I'm not using my neck. I'm not using my shoulders. I'm using my shoulder blade. If you can barely move and you're just holding it, that's good enough right now, because it's better than getting your neck to engage with this, because we need it right on your back to do this. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring that down, tucking shoulders, roll it back. We're going to move into our hip rotations here. You might need a chair for this because we need some stability. If not, don't worry about it. The idea is we're going to shift the weight, soften the knee, tight abs, tight butt over here. We're going to bring this knee up so that the ankle is under the knee. And then I'm just going to rotate it out while keeping my hip forward. So I'm not swinging my torso out. I'm bringing my knee out. Then I'm bringing it back forward and I'm tapping down. I'm going to bring my knee up, keep my hip forward. I'm going to pull the knee out. I'm going to pull it back forward and down. I'm going up, out, in, and down. Up, out, in, and down. My abs are tight. My hips are forward. Out, in, and down. Up, out, in, and down. One more. Up, out, in, and down. And march that out. We're working real deep in that hip socket, creating all these muscles to contract in and out. And that's what everybody needs, is a strong hip socket. Okay, we're going to go to the other side, shifting the weight, soft knee, tight abs, tight butt. We're going to go ahead and we're going to raise that knee, rotate out, keeping the hip forward, and then knee forward and down. It's some people, when they first do this, they're barely going to bring their knee out because they don't have the glute strength to pull that leg all the way out. So if you're barely doing it and your hips staying forward, don't worry, it will get stronger. Some people can go a little bit further because they've been doing this longer. So don't worry on how wide you're going. Worry how straight is your hip staying while your perfect thigh form is engaging so that the glute learns to take over and it gets thicker and stronger at the hip socket level, so that this becomes a move that does get wider as you get stronger. Your ligaments, tendons, nerves figure it out better. We have one more to go. And bring it down. March it out. March it out. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to come on to with, let's see. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. One last exercise here. We're going to bend over. If you have a ballet bar, this will work for you too. If you have like a countertop, this will work for you. If you have a chair, this will work for you too. We're going to bend over, and then we're going to have our shoulders over our wrists. Don't lock out your elbows. If those arms shaking, that's okay. That's your nervous system waking up and learning how to contract. Level one, you're just going to bend over, tight abs, and you're going to tap out to the side and tap out to the side. Level two, you're coming to a full-blown plank, and you're going to tap out to the side, tap out to the side. So you're going to choose which one you're going to do. We're going to shoot for 10 of these. So here we go. We're going to tap out to the side. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Tight abs. Relax that neck and shoulders. 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, and 10. And then stepping forward, forward, tight abs, tight butt, and stand yourself up and roll those shoulders back. So we got a little bit of arm strength here, some wrist strength, some abdominals, and then we got inner and outer thigh with that one. So that one, as long as you don't lock up your shoulders here and you pull the shoulder blades back, tighten the abs, it's a great one for your upper body to work out just against the body weight alone. Well, we are done with our standing workout. I hope you enjoyed it, because we're going to move to the floor now. And if you're going to follow along, we're going to go ahead and go do that next. Otherwise, if you're going to do it later, I'll be posting it later on YouTube, and you can find the second one separately from this one. Okay, thanks for joining.